We moved into our Swiss fixer-upper 2 months ago, and these are the 5 lessons I've learned from renovating our house here. There was a huge rainstorm, and now we have a very, very leaky window. Today I'm going to the hardware store to try to figure out if there's anything that I can do to stop the leak just for the time being so that we can figure out what to do next. The first thing is there are no inspections done to the house before you move in. Then after you move in, you have to do all of these different inspections for different parts of the house. So for example, we have a fireplace and the chimney needs to be checked to make sure that it's in good working order and that it's safe for use. There is a person that is assigned to each municipality. It's called a rameneur. And this person, you make an appointment with them and you pay like a fee, and they come and they will check your chimney to make sure that everything is good and it's safe for use before you turn it on and use it. The other thing that you have to do within 6 months of moving in is you have to get all of your electrical checked. So it's a little bit unclear to me how they know that your electricity hasn't been checked and how this is controlled. But in our case, because we are going to be starting some works, you have to have this done before you start any works. So we reached out to a few companies that do this, and we made an appointment for a company to come and do the electrical check before we can start any renovations on the house. The other thing I learned is there are a lot of tax incentives and subsidies available in Switzerland for home renovations. If you are preserving the value or maintaining the value of your home, so for example, we're looking into changing our heating system from a mazout heating system, an oil-based heating system, to a water pump. The cost of that can actually be tax deductible, so you can deduct that from your taxable income. But anything that's a luxury upgrade to the house, for example, if you want to put in a luxury bathroom, things like that are not tax deductible, and you do them at your own cost. Things that are making your house more energy efficient, there are also subsidies in addition to the tax incentive that you have. If you change from an inefficient system that we have right now, an inefficient heating system, to a more efficient heating system, there's also a subsidy from the federal government, and also you get a subsidy from your specific municipality as well. However, recently, there was a law that was just passed, this ability for home renovations to be tax deductible. It was voted upon, and they voted for a measure that actually will sunset this policy after 2 years from now. There's 2 years where you are going to be able to deduct these type of renovations, but after 2 years, they will no longer be deductible. And the subsidies, some of them may still exist, but some of them may not. So now we are also taking this into consideration to make sure that things like insulating the house, insulating the roof, changing our heating, that maybe we do these in the next 2 years to take full advantage of all of the incentives there are to do it now. As I've been trying to assemble the people that I should be working with to do our renovations, I have found it extremely confusing. In the US, what most people would do is they would work with a general contractor and an interior designer. Here, everyone seems to go by the term architect. There are architects you probably would work with if you're doing anything that would require a permit. Anytime you make any changes to the exterior of your house, for example, if you want to enlarge a window, or if you want to change the use of a garage to a studio, these are things that require permits. And only a specific type of architect is able to file those permits for you. There are also people here who go by the term interior architect. And I guess it was like the equivalent to an interior designer, where basically they're not able to file those permits for you with the canton, but they can work with you on designing your layout. Sometimes they will work with you to do the implementation, or actually to do the works. They will have contractors that they're working with to help you implement whatever design that you've decided on. But sometimes they don't do that. Then there are also entreprises générales, which I guess is the equivalent to a contractor. It's somebody that isn't necessarily an architect, isn't necessarily a design person, but they can do the work you ask them to do. There is a cost difference in choosing these different people. If you work with an architect that is submitting all the permits for you, they charge you a percentage of your work. It can be as high as 20% of all of your construction costs have to be paid. If you work with an interior architect or directly with an entreprise générale, you don't necessarily have to pay that 20% fee. So it is less expensive, but if you need any kind of permitting done, then you have to figure out how you find somebody to do that permitting for you. In general, I've just found it to be really confusing. I haven't really known what type of person that we should be working with. It's been difficult for us to navigate this and to figure this out. People really go by word of mouth here and recommendations. What we've decided to do is we are working with an architect. She can do all the permits for us, but she also is an interior architect. So she can also do things like help us select paint colors and help us with furniture if we ever needed help with that. And we're starting on a very small scope, which is to design a global kind of vision for the house to help us figure out, okay, where can we add a bathroom upstairs? How can we enlarge our kitchen? Where does it make sense to open up a wall to make the space feel bigger? After that, we will then do a phased approach of projects. And some things maybe we'll do with her, and then some things maybe it makes sense for us to do directly with an entreprise générale. That's something that we still have to work through. But that's the approach that we've taken. Because it's been so confusing and difficult to know who to work with, we decided to work on a small project first and then potentially build from there. I have never renovated a house in the US, so I cannot compare how long it takes for things to get done there versus here. But what I will say about having things done here is that it seems to be taking a really long time. Anytime you want to do anything, it starts with a Devi. A Devi is basically an estimate. Here's an example. We want to smooth all the walls in our main area. We called several different paint wall people to come and to give us a Devi. So first they come, they do an on-site visit, they take measurements, they look at your walls, and they tell you, okay, I think it's going to take about this amount of time, but let me work on a Devi for you and I'll get it back to you. It can take weeks for you to receive a Devi. I've had people come to our house 3 weeks ago and I've still not received the Devi. This is so crazy to me. In the US, if you called a contractor in and you said, okay, I want to redo my walls and this might be like new business for you, then the person would quickly turn it around and get you an estimate so that you would be able to make a decision on how you want to move forward. But that is not the attitude here. I've just been shocked by the fact that you actually have to follow up and ask them what the status is on the Devi that they were supposed to put together for you. After you get the Devi, then of course you can decide if you want to move forward or not, and then of course the works can start. But this part of the process has just taken so much longer than I anticipated, especially if you want to get Devis from multiple different vendors so you can compare quotes. I've just been shocked by it. The last thing I've learned, which is not really a surprise, is that it's just very expensive to do renovation work here in Switzerland. The cost of the materials is one thing, but really it's the cost of the labor. Like I said, I've not renovated a house in the US. I don't know how to compare the costs. What some people try to do is they will find people who are in France, for example, because we live very close to the French border, to do certain works, or they will find a company that from Italy or something that does cabinetry or whatever, and then they'll ship that here, and that will be oftentimes cheaper than finding a custom cabinet maker here in Switzerland. I'm not sure yet how we're going to proceed with this. We haven't really gotten to that stage, but this is something that I've heard over and over again as we are doing our planning. That is one of the reasons why people don't really do a lot of renovations. They'll renovate their house one time, they'll make it timeless, they'll do it right and spend the money on it, and then they do not touch their house again for like 20 or 30 years. People really invest in like a one-time renovation on quality materials and quality design that they hope will last, that they'll continue to like. There isn't this like cycle of renovating things based on trends. You do something once to update a house or to get it up to the standards of today, and then you maintain it for as long as possible. It's definitely a different attitude change from where we're coming from in the US, but it does force you to really think carefully about the decisions that you're making to make sure that what you're choosing and what you're deciding is something that's going to have longevity and lasting power. Bonjour! They basically told me that the best thing to do is actually just to duct tape it around the edge, because if you try to caulk it or use something like that, it's going to be difficult to take that off when you actually need to repair the crack. It looks like there's a crack in the exterior of the window. I don't know if that means we're making a trip up to the roof today.
What's the idea?
You got duct tape?
No. Something better. We're not duct taping our roof. Are you crazy?
I don't get it. What is it?
It's the actual compound for the facade and for the window.
But you're not going up there.
Not yet.